Hi, I'm Karen. We're here at Montavilla Sewing Center, and today we're talking about the Baby Lock Lyric. In this video, I'm going to show you how to care for your machine. Now, this is something you should do on a regular basis if you do a lot of sewing. And even if you don't do a lot of sewing, I would suggest doing it at least once a month. To start with, we want to push the lockout key. Now, the lockout key said lower the presser foot. There we go. The purpose of that is a safety feature. You can push any button now, push on the pedal, and the machine's not going to go. But you can still leave your machine on so that you have light to work with. Now, once this is locked, you can still raise your presser foot, and that's fine. So let's go ahead and take that presser foot off of there, like that. I'm going to just put it right down in the tray here just to have it out of the way. And then we want to take the needle off. But first of all, we're going to take our thread out. Remember, we're going to pull the thread going towards the needle. Never just grab your spool and pull it backwards out of the machine, because that can cause lint to build up in here, and we don't want to have that. Okay. And by the way, speaking of thread, use good quality thread. This is Metler Metrocene. We sell it here at Montavilla. It's a good all-purpose polyester thread, nice and strong. It's going to help keep from getting skip stitches. I've noticed this is good for that. Like when you're doing a zigzag, you want to make sure you're getting good stitches. This is an excellent thread for that. Good all-purpose thread. Lots and lots of colors too. Okay, now we want to take the needle out. Now I would recommend putting either a piece of paper or a scrap of fabric right there to keep that needle from falling down inside the machine. We take our needle clamp screw and use your screwdriver that comes with your machine. You'll notice that's a little bit thicker than normal screwdriver. So these screwdrivers, they come with in your accessories. So let me just loosen that just a little bit more. There we go. Okay, pull that straight down. And again, I'm going to put this kind of where it's going to be safe, right down in there. There we go. Okay, the next thing we need to do is take off this plastic needle plate. So I'm going to pull the accessory tray to one side and then pull this straight forward. So we can take out the bobbin. I could have taken that out before, but that's fine. And then you can take out the bobbin case. Now the bobbin case, any dust that's on there, you want to brush that off with your included brush that comes with your accessories. All sides, brush it really good. And then brush inside here where it sits. There's just a little bit. This is a fairly new machine, so there's not a lot of lint. When you clean your machine, do it a little more regularly than you think you might need to, and that way you'll get a sense for how often you do need to do it. So to start with, just do it a little more regularly. And might even just put a little note on your calendar, do this every now and then. Brush that out really good. Now, you can use your vacuum cleaner hose attachment, and as you're brushing, it's sucking up that lint. But don't use canned air, and for two reasons. First of all, canned air, that aerosol stuff that puffs air, that can blow lint further back in your machine instead of pulling it out. But the second and the worst part is I have used it and sprayed it long enough so that it starts spraying frost on whatever I'm spraying. Frost is moisture, and you don't want to get moisture in your machine. So no canned air, but you can use your little vacuum cleaner if you need to, or just brush it out. That's all I usually do. Now, to put your bobbin case back in, this little knob needs to be right next to that stopper, to the left of that stopper. And that white mark will line up with that white mark. So scoop it underneath here. Make sure it sits nice and evenly on that metal rim. And see, those marks are right next to each other, and the stopper is to the knob is to the left of the stopper. Then we put this back on, and you notice where the little tabs are. I'm going to line this up, give it a push forward, and that part's back on. Now, we're going to put the needle back in, and I'm going to do that before putting the foot on because it just gives me a little more room to work with that. So let's retrieve our needle from the case in here. You can also put it in a pin cushion, but I kind of recommend you not do that because if you have other machine needles in there, you might forget which is which. And it's a good idea to change your needle on a regular basis. What I've heard is every 2 or 3 full bobbins of thread that you use up with the same needle, you should put in a new needle. That's because that amount of sewing, 3 full bobbins, that needle has gone through the fabric so many times that it's starting to get a little bit worn down and dull at the end, at the tip of it. So change your needle every 3 full bobbins. And changing it means discard the old one, get a new one. Now, when you throw away your needles, it's best to put them in something. I usually use like a pill bottle or something like that. That way, don't ever throw it directly in the garbage because it can work its way out and end up in somebody's foot. You don't want that. Okay, so for putting your needle in, you're going to put it in the same way that you took it out. I like to use this little brush. Now, this is an extra little thing that you can just get for a few dollars here. The thing about this brush is it has this hole in the end of it that you can use to hold your needle to put it into the machine. So put that in there, making sure that the flat side of the needle is facing away from you. And see, with the foot out of the way, I can just put the pointy end of the needle right down there, put this right behind the number 6 that's on the needle clamp, and I'm holding it all the way up here. It's like a handle for the needle. Really, it's a nice thing. And yes, of course, you can hold it with your fingers, but it's a little more secure this way. That's why I like doing it this way. Once you've got that tightened by hand, then put your screwdriver in there and tighten it up. Screwdriver tight, just so that it's snug. It doesn't have to be really tight, but snug enough so that it's not going to come loose. Slide that down, and that part's ready to go. I'm going to go ahead and put the foot back on here. Line up the hole in the foot with the hole in the needle plate, and lower your presser foot, and that's back on there. And then, of course, you can unlock your machine. That's the basic maintenance on this machine. Now, you also probably, with any good quality machine, you want to bring it in on a yearly basis for maintenance, because that way they can take the bottom part off and clean it up really good and make sure it's running smoothly in the way it should run. We have a wonderful service department here at Montavilla, so just like you bring in your car for regular maintenance, bring in your sewing machine. It'll last a lot longer and serve you well. So if this video has been helpful to you, give us a thumbs up. And if you have comments or questions, you can leave those in the area down below. We have lots of other videos on this machine, so keep watching. Thanks for watching today. Bye-bye.